Let me record this real quick. All right, there we go. Because other people who want to watch this will have value in this video. So, all right. So the first thing you want to do when you start this is you got to think of the song, and you got to choose a song wisely, right? So there was a song that I wanted to do. What a beautiful name it is. But that was a very difficult song to do as I thought through it because the first beginning part, the first minute, there's no rhythm. And you're relying on all these musicians and singers that are not in the same room to have the same tempo. And you can do that through the click track. If you get like a click track or a metronome, you tell them, okay, let's do 62 beats a minute. But even then, people are not used to playing with the click track. So, for example, we did Revelation Song this week, and I had the click track 62 beats a minute, and I recorded on my MacBook right there, as you can see right there. GarageBand had the click track going, the metronome going, and I actually could not play 62 beats a minute with the guitar. I kept speeding up, and there's something like in my brain that I can't play that slow. 62 beats a minute is too slow. So my rhythm was off, and the whole time I had this mic in front of me, and I was saying, okay, now the soloist will start. Okay, now the soloist will sing the second half of verse 1. Now everyone comes in verse 1 again. And I'm doing that, and it was difficult. So then after 2 tries, I said, okay, I'm just going to lay down my acoustic track. So I just played acoustic, erased everything I did, played acoustic, and then I still wasn't doing that great of a job. And then I recorded a second track where I was saying, okay, this is where everyone comes in. This is the chorus now. This is instrumental, etc. That worked okay, but when I gave it to the drummer, he was thrown off by my acoustic guitar playing. And then he actually ended up speeding up a little bit over time. And Stephanie knows who he is, and whoever watches the video will know who he is. But there was a little bit of a
We
speed up.
know.
There's a little bit of speed up, and then he would slow down, and it was so imperceptible. But I gave it to the keyboardist guy in South Point, and it was messing him up. And I didn't give him the drum. I gave him my acoustic guitar. So by the time I merged the drums and the piano together, it was just all off. So that whole story is just telling you to have the person who's playing drums lay down the drum line first. And that will be the master track that you put either the keys or acoustic guitar on top. Otherwise, everything else just messes up. And I probably wasted 2 hours of my time this week trying to reconcile the drums with the piano, and I had to go back to the piano guy and say, can you do it over again? Here's the drums. So anyways, I know this is kind of a long story, but so drum track first, and the drummer will upload his track, upload it as a MP3 or whatever, up to Google Drive or whatnot. But most likely you want video of him as well, right? So
Right.
he'll probably record video. He'll probably use his iPhone or camera and record the whole thing at once, and then you upload that MP4 or MOV file up. But some drummers are overachievers, so they'll have like 4 drum mics and a mixer and put it into a GarageBand, and it sounds really nice. So they'll have 2 separate tracks, right? So they'll upload their video and then their audio, which was not the case for Revelation Song. He just uploaded a video. I gave it to the keyboardist. He redid his keyboards, and then he actually did his keyboards twice. So the first time he made sure he played it right, and then the second time he did the video. And there might be some controversy over this about whether it's authentic or not. But he quote unquote lip synced his piano playing the second time, right? So that way he could focus a little more on giving to the camera, which is different from when you're on stage. So now you have to give to the camera because people are watching you 3 or 4 times because they're like, man, I love that. And they'll watch the YouTube many times and they'll start picking it apart. So now our piano player is awesome, but he did that twice, the audio and then the video, and uploaded those 2 files separately. Now I played acoustic and electric, and so I recorded my acoustic again. Remember, the first time it was messed up, so I played it to the drums and it was perfect. And then I recorded my electric rhythm, which is like distortion, and then I recorded my electric lead. So when I'm actually on stage, I actually play both. But here I wanted to have a little more meat to the song, so I added more rhythm, and then I did the lead again. And then so those are three separate tracks in GarageBand: acoustic, rhythm, and lead. And then I exported each one separately as an MP3. So you would mute these two, export this, mute this one, unmute, export that, mute this one, unmute, export that. So now I have three guitar tracks, I have the piano track, I have the drum track, and then I actually went back and did my video, and I actually played live in the video, and then I took kind of the best. So if the video I played better, then I cut that out in DaVinci Resolve and cut the MP3 out, and I'll kind of show you what I did. And then the singers, I told them the same thing. Like there was one singer who actually could not sing very loud in his house because it was 11 p.m. So he recorded singing in his car earlier during the day, but then came home, put a backdrop, and then sang really quietly, and then uploaded that video and audio separately. And then I used the audio separate from his video. So now you're dealing with, okay, well, other singers just upload a video file with the audio, and I just use that straight. So now you're dealing with all these files uploaded. So now I'm going to show you kind of what I did here. Share screen. Let's do this one. This one. All right, can you guys see that?
Yeah.
And can you see this, like all these projects here in the middle?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right, so this is Revelation song here. So when you first open up the application, you'll see that splash screen, and that will be where you can click on new project or whatnot. And then if you go down here to the bottom, you'll see these tabs here, which is really cool. So I'll kind of go over each of these a little bit in order, but a lot of these, or some of these, you really don't need unless you're a real overachiever. So anyways, so what I'll do here is I'll come to my file system on this media page. So this is where you gather like what clips you're going to use, and import them into your project. So here, click on this. So this is just basically like a can you guys see my Windows Explorer? Okay, so
Yeah.
this I just downloaded everything from Google Drive, and this is just where I put everything. So this is what you see here, and then I pretty much grabbed these audio files. Here's the drummer, and then this is he did a video and audio in the same take, so it's all one file. Same thing with the bass. And then these are different audio files. I think this is piano, as you can see. You can see right here, piano. But if I want to import something, I'll just pull it in like that, and then now it's part of the project. All right. So then cut is actually the same thing as edit, and I actually never spent much time on this, so I couldn't really talk you through what this does, but it's basically what I read was it's a dumbed down version of edit. So I just use edit. I just go straight to the edit page. All right, so then up here in the upper left here, you'll see like these different things here. So here's media pool. So this is everything you imported from the other page here, the media page. So you can look at it from different ways, thumbnails or just details. And then this one's effects library, which you'll use a little bit, but you actually don't need to use it too much. So this is between different clips, but you don't really have different clips. You have you have boxes that you're going to deal with, and you're not transitioning between them. So basically, like I just basically use this one for the most part, media pool, and I would drag whatever I want onto here. So what I'm going to do before I do anything here is, so when you want to switch between projects, go to the lower right here, Project Manager, click on that, and I'm just going to create a new project. And don't save. I don't want to. Revelation song demo. So I'm just going to go from the beginning so you can kind of see like what I do and how I go through this whole workflow. And anytime now.
Buffering.
I know. This is a 2011 computer desktop.
Hey.
So if you have anything newer, it should be better. It's never taken this long before.
Probably because of the Zoom call too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Zoom is a memory hog.
Is it?
Yeah, I have to shut down Chrome when I use Zoom.
All right, so go to the media, and I'll just grab all of these. All right, so here's one thing. You'll notice this media offline. Just a tip here: when you have a Windows computer and you hook up your iPhone to the Windows computer, and then you pull the file off of, like, you'll go to let's see, Apple iPhone. You go here. So I have my iPhone plugged in right now, and then you go here and you grab your file. It's going to download it as a H.265, and DaVinci Resolve does not know what that is. So if you're familiar with this file called Handbrake, what you do is just you have to convert it, and it's really easy to do. It sounds intimidating, but it's really easy. So you'll grab, like, so here's my electric guitar track. I'll just drag it over here into Handbrake, and then set my wherever I want to put it at. So it always
We're
defaults
not
to
seeing
this.
your screen, I think.
Oh, you don't see Handbrake?
No. We're seeing the main screen of DaVinci.
Oh. Let's see, new share. Okay, here we go. Can you see that? Handbrake.
Yeah, now we can see it.
Now it's
Oh.
Oh, what a stud muffin.
Wow.
Thank you, thank you.
You're growing your mullet back, G.
I know.
Come on.
It's
Maybe lock
it's
on.
either have a mullet or have COVID. So I'll opt for the
Wow.
mullet.
Social distancing, can't get a haircut.
I know.
Hey guys, speaking of social distancing, my son just got married. You guys know Lucas and Alicia from Turning Point?
No.
Yeah.
They
I
had
know.
yeah, that's my son Lucas.
What?
He just pulled up right now, him and his wife. Yeah, so we are having like an after party, so I have to go out. Yeah, I could hear them. What is your name, bro? And I'll tell him your
Oh yeah. Tell him Jeremy says hi.
Oh, Jeremy. Okay, Jeremy, I'll tell him. Yeah, he's right behind me. I can hear him talking. But I'll
They're
meet
gifted. They're great.
I'll meet with
Congratulations.
Tweety. I'll meet with oops, they don't call you Tweety, do they?
No, they don't call me Tweety.
Okay, never mind. I'll meet with Cynthia.
All right, Tweety.
Guys, I love you guys. I super appreciate it.
Yeah.
If there is a recording, I'll check it out. Brian
This is
Craig,
being recorded.
Brian Craig studied the Bible with me. He baptized me around 30 years ago. So he's,
Oh, wow.
I know Brian. We have 9-hour quiet times all our lives. That dude is crazy.
That's awesome.
I watched him write all the songs, but I
Awesome.
can't wait to meet all you guys, man. Keep on doing what you guys doing, and I'll catch up again.
Yeah, thanks,
All right.
Luke, for joining us.
Thanks, guys. All right.
All right, bye.
Catch you later, Luke.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so so you'll basically think of Windows. I mean, can you see Windows Explorer right next to it?
Right next to Handbrake?
Yeah.
No, we just see Handbrake.
Okay. Well, just think of I have Windows Explorer and I drag a file and drop it into this Handbrake window. and then this popped up. So if I drag another file, let's say the piano one, no, that's here. Let's see, piano right here. I just dragged and dropped, and it didn't like that. Here, let me drag this bass one. Yeah. So just drag and drop. It will you have to put this wherever you need to, and then click start encode, and that's it. And then it will encode it into H.264. So this is what you should see, not H.265. Otherwise, DaVinci will still throw up on it. So, anyways, that's a little side thing. I've also noticed that when I've dragged and dropped, or when I've imported other video files into DaVinci, and the synchronization's just off between the video and the audio, I just drop it into Handbrake and re-encode it. Like Claire did that. Every one of her videos was always off. I don't know if it's because of uploading to Google Drive and then I'd re-download it and whatever. I just run it through Handbrake, and then everything works again, the new file. So if you ever have a problem, that will save you like 3 hours of trying to synchronize things. Just drop it into here, create a new one, and that's it. So, all right. So let me go back to DaVinci Resolve. All right. Can you see Revelation Song Demo right here at the top?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right, so what I'll do is I'll just drag all of these except for these three, and drop that into, and I just say okay, doesn't matter. All right, so now this is what I have to work with. So I'll go straight to the edit, and what I'll do is I'll choose the drum one, and I'll right click and do create new timeline using selected clips. So everything's going to be based off of this video now. And I kind of know, okay, well, we have 5 instruments and 4 voices, so that's 9. So I need 9 video tracks, 9 audio tracks, but I'll need more, but let's just do 9 for now. And then click create. All right, so now we got Hector in here, and there's a lot of dragging things around. So I'll click media pool to close that, just to get more real estate. And I'm always doing this a lot, up and down. So here's all the video tracks that you'll have here. Here's all the audio tracks that you'll have here, and I kind of assign each one. So I'll say drums Hector. So I'll put the name of the instrument here and the video here. Oh, a gift from Zoom. Running out of time. Remove the 40-minute time limit on your group meeting. Thank you. Awesome.
Sweet.
The Lord
Ask and you
provides.
shall receive. Yeah.
They're probably watching this going, man, this is about God. Maybe we'll let them go.
We'll let it slide.
They're creeping on us.
Question about audio tracks. So they all show up as a green or blue band, and then your video will be just your frames, correct? So that's how
Yeah,
all
so
those will
you
show
can
up?
you can customize that here. So you see this icon right here. So
Yeah.
you can I think this shows the opening and ending frame. This shows a bunch of the frames, and then this shows no frame. It makes it really small. So this is really good at when you're like almost done and you're trying to deal with a lot of these. But typically you're going to be here right in the beginning. And then let's see,
It also, you could change audio wave format.
yeah. So you click on this to show audio. So this is going to be really helpful right here. So audio waveframes, and I usually do this, and then you make it a little wider.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay.
So the video you don't really need too wide.
Yeah.
And then, so this is really helpful here. So this is to show the whole area. This little magnifying glass. This zooms in on the track head. So this is the track head right here. So I'll zoom in. And then this is like a custom zoom right here. So whenever you click on this, it's more of a custom zoom. So you see, this is going to be helpful because now, like, I can kind of tell where he starts playing. So Revelation Song has this long intro, and I go, okay, well now I know this is kind of like where the chorus. No, this is where verse 1 repeats and all the singers come in. So this helps me out a lot. So what I'll do is I'll cut him in a little bit here at the end, kind of where I see him stop playing. And in the beginning, I'll also do the same thing. But I really don't know where the song starts because the drummer doesn't start at the beginning of the song. So I kind of have an idea, but I don't really know. So I'll put him here. So now I have him set, but he's not really totally set. So now I'll go grab the piano player. So here's the piano player. I'll put him on 2. And I'll name him. And naming, you'll see why this is really important later. All right, so now I'll close this up. Now I have a little bit of a problem, which is now he covers Hector. So what I'll do is I'll click on Hector, and over here where it says zoom, I'll just click on zoom X, and then I'll drag left. Actually, I can't do that. It doesn't show anything. So the higher number of the video track is going to be higher in the Z order, the Z index. So I'll click on Guy, and I'll zoom him down. You can actually click here too, but I just like to use this thing, so I have a little more precise control. So I'll bring him down to about 33%, and then now I can see Hector. I'll bring him down to 33%. So they're the same size. Now I want to move Hector. So I'll grab position X and move him to the left. Y, I'll move him up into the corner. So I'm left clicking on this and then dragging left and right. So and then I'll click on Guy and then kind of bring him up. And I'm not going to go through everybody. I'm just going to go through a couple of these people so you can kind of see what I'm doing. So now I'm looking at this waveform and I don't know what this thing is here. So I want to zoom in a little bit, and I'll just preview this, see what happens. Okay, so that's just a bunch of noise that I don't know what happens. So what I'll do is I'll zoom out a little bit, and I'll make sure this arrow is selected, and then I want to have this icon. Can you guys see that icon? It kind of points to the left.
Yeah.
In the lower left here. So I'll just bring this guy in a little bit. And then you can click. So these two are linked. So when I move one, I'll move the other one. You can unlink them. So for example, when I told you guys, like, one of the singers sang and recorded beforehand, but then he sang again but quietly, but he didn't want to use that second audio that was in the video, you can actually left or right click and click link clips. It will unlink them. So if I do that, you'll see how now when I move this guy, it doesn't move the video anymore. And I actually can delete this, delete selected, and then I can drop in one of the other MP3s and put it here instead. But I'm going to undo this. So Control Z, Control Z. So now it's linked again. You'll see this little chain icon here. So they're linked again. So when I click one, both of them highlight. So what I'll do is I'll play this. Okay, well, I want to get them right at the beginning there. So let's really zoom in. So I click this icon, zoom in, and get it right at the beginning. Bam. All right. So now, awesome. So this part now, you kind of have to play through and listen Okay, that's the intro. Well, the singer starts there, so let's bring her in now. So here's Maria. Bring her in. I can see her waveform. She starts singing right here. Well, that's perfect. Almost. Almost perfect. Because I stopped right where she would come in, and here she is. So let me back up a little bit, make sure we get her right where it would start. So it's off. So what I like to do is I play, and then right where I need to have her start singing, that's where I stop it. So right there, that's where she'll start singing. So now I'll back out a little bit. I need to bring this in. So I'm going to show you a cool tool called Slip Tool. All right, so now this is, I don't know, I don't really get this thing here. I have to click both. But when you click the Slip Tool, it keeps the same. So see how this clip here has, oh, come on, zoom out. Here we go. See how this clip has a start and end point? But we know that since I brought this in, the actual clip is this long, right? So it's longer than what you see here. So I can actually keep the endpoints the same, but I'll move the actual content of her singing over. And I'll show you that here once it lets me. I think it's this one. Or maybe, you know what? That's right. I have to bring in her endpoint. So click on the arrow, bring the endpoint in. Okay, now I can slide her. Okay, there we go. So let's try that. All right, so I want to bring her out a little bit. So now I don't want to slip her. I just want to start the beginning time. There we go. Bring her in a little earlier. Okay, that sounds good. So now I want to zoom her and move her over. But now she's covering the piano, guys. So I'm going to go to crop, and I'm going to crop the left of her video. So move the cropping to 145, and then crop the bottom and bring it up. And then if you use the mouse wheel, you can zoom in. If you push down on the mouse wheel, I can kind of pan this, zoom in really tight. You guys can watch the video later and, you know, find out all this. All right, so that's good. So now I want to bring Hector in at the right point. So
So, G, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Are the musicians and the singers, are they listening to the original version and just kind of playing and singing along through earphones?
That works. So the very first song we did was Hallelujah by Benton Brown. That was key of G, and that works because we did it in that key. So we just said, listen to this YouTube, and that worked just fine. For Revelation song, every version out there is just kind of a different weird version. So in this case, I had Hector lay down this drum track first right here. And then I sent out I got the drum track from him. I sent it to Guy. He laid the piano down 2 times actually, but the second time he got it right. And then I put those two together in GarageBand, and then I added my acoustic guitar, and then I sent that out to all the singers. So let's see, there's This one right here. Yeah, that's what I sent out. So let me go to media real quick and I'll show you. Okay, that's not exactly the right one. I can't find it, but then Maria sent. So it was basically this version without Maria. Maria sent me her solo, and then in GarageBand I put those two together, and I created this for the rest of the singers. So you hear the acoustic there?
I don't hear anything. Oh, barely.
Now I hear it.
Yeah.
I don't think we hear your computer sound.
Oh, you can't hear it?
Yeah, we can't hear your computer sound.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you could.
No.
Oh, bummer. Okay. Here.
I think it might be under the screen share options.
We'll just do it this way. Screen share option. Share computer sound. There we go. You guys hear that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so the first track was a drum track. There was nothing there for this whole part. The piano track, and I put the piano and on top of that drum track, and then I added that acoustic, and Maria added her soprano. You guys can hear that? Okay. So in GarageBand, I imported her Move video. It was a video by Maria, and it pulled off the audio from that. And then I used the drums, piano, bass, and acoustic, and the singers, and Maria, and the singers sang over that. So that's kind of how I did that. But it all started with that drum track. But I just want to finish this drum synchronization so you can kind of see like how I did all this. Because doing this takes like 5-6 hours for one song, so it's way too much time to understand. Okay, this is perfect. So you can't hear her very well, right? She's kind of quiet. So you come down to hers, and I'll put soprano here. And Maria. All right, so what I'll do is when you can't hear her, and you can kind of tell because you look at these waveforms, they're big, and hers are small. And by the way, if you want to move along the timeline, you can press the middle button, the mouse wheel button, and drag. You come here and see this little line right here? You can drag that.
Mm.
So now here we go. Now I can hear her.
Lamb who was slain, holy, holy.
All right, so now we've kind of got her in there.
Sing a new song to him who sits on heaven's mercy seat.
Okay, now I know Hector's supposed to come in right around here somewhere, so that's a little early. Okay, it's still a little early. Or maybe that was late. Okay, I think he's supposed to come in right there, so let's bring him back. So there's a lot of like synchronization there that you got to deal with.
Yeah, I see it.
What's that?
I see it.
Yeah.
You have to match up the waveforms when they start and stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why it helps to have you got to choose a song properly. Otherwise, this will be a real pain. And this is kind of a pain for this song, but it's not too bad. So now he's a little too early. And it's just a lot of doing this back and forth. So I'm not going to go through all this, but I just wanted to show you kind of like the beginnings. Now I'll go back to the actual Revelation song that I worked on. Sure, save the demo.
So is there auto tune in this?
Oh man, you wouldn't believe the singers all insecure about that, including myself. And
Yeah.
it's just like, well, there isn't, but you got like 4 or 5 singers.
We're just asking.
Yeah, and there's a lot of pitch issues with everybody. It's everybody has pitch issues except Luis.
Key correction on
Mm-hmm.
Say again.
that.
All right, so
I think there's like a key correction thing in GarageBand.
Yeah, in GarageBand, so you could do it like as a secondary thing.
yeah, there might be in here too. I haven't really looked through. I mean, this effects library has a ton of stuff in here. So audio, I haven't used much.
Yeah, I think in the Fairlight, I use the Fairlight noise reduction because I would get a lot of hiss from my microphone.
Mhm.
But what I realized is it's not the best tool because what it does is as soon as you apply something on a vocal edit or an audio edit, it delays the track by a fraction of a second. So wherever you placed it initially, if you put in an audio edit, it'll now delay it even further.
Yeah,
And it requires more editing, more like shifting, synchronizing.
right. Yeah, that might be real time. So I want to show you a few things here. Kind of, I mean, I showed you the basics on trying to get things synchronized and moving things around, and then you kind of get the beginning and end set, but then you need to kind of slip the audio and video to the left or right, or you might need to do that with just the video because the video is off from the audio and stuff like that. But now here's kind of like the full thing, right? So I have everyone coming in at different times here. So I'll zoom out a little bit here and make these smaller and hide this and hide that. All right, so now you can see I've placed everyone where they need to be. And make sure you tell your band members and worship team members to do landscape. It's easier because there's always one guy who wants to do portrait. It kind of messes up the feng shui, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Also,
Sorry,
when you
G.
it's all right. Actually worked out because I would have had a black space somewhere, so it actually worked out. So when you get something down and you don't want to accidentally move things, click this lock and it locks it in place so you can't accidentally move things. Now, okay, so when you have like 9 boxes here and you try to press play, it's not going to like you. See, that's not the internet. That's my computer. It can't render 9 of these HD streams at once. And
Yeah.
so when you're trying to synchronize audio and people's lips, because sometimes they're off by a few frames and you want to get it perfect, and you're trying to press play, it doesn't work. So I'm going to show you something that I didn't know for the first almost 2 weeks, and it would have saved me a lot of time. And it's called like optimized media. So what you'll do is right here under playback, used optimized media if available. So you'll click that, make sure it's checked. And then the second thing you'll do is go to render cache and click user. So this means you're going to intentionally set the render cache. You're not going to say none because this is all 1080p. You don't want to do that. So this will bring it down in this little render box here. So do user, and then what you're going to do is go, let's choose base, and I'll go down to this clip here and I'll right click, and where is it? Generate optimized media right here, and it'll create a smaller version of it. And why they make you do like 3 or 4 steps, I don't understand, but this is just what I found out. So then now, see how this is still like really crystal clear? If I go to playback and proxy mode, and I'm going to go to quarter resolution, and now this will be a lot smoother. Now I still have problems, so now what I'll do is go, okay, well, I know I have Luis down, so I don't need to see him right now. Daniel, Claire, Maria. I just want to focus in on the instruments, so now this will be smooth. And then, you know, that's a freebie, because that will just save you a lot of time not having to sit there and deal with synchronization issues. All right, so I think I've showed you a lot. So the one last thing I want to show you, or last few things I want to show you, is okay. So now I've gotten everything, and it all ends here, right here on the right hand side. I want to make sure that when people come in, they kind of fade in. So you see Maria here. Let me zoom in here. She doesn't just pop in, she kind of fades in.
Now, are you using a crosscut, G?
Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll go to Effects Library, and I'll want to unlock whichever one I'm doing. Let's say this one, and then go to Video Transitions, Cross Dissolve. Let's actually delete this. Let's do Cross Resolve, and I can just add that. And now she kind of fades in. Whereas if I did not add that, then she just pops in. Well, it's probably cached right now, but yeah, she just pops in. So it'll be like black, 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 and then she pops in. So, okay, so then another thing I want to show you is, so we have this timeline, right? So the timeline, think of the timeline, and this timeline is, I call it main song. And this main song is right, where is it? Right here. Right, so here's the main song. This is that timeline. If I right click it, I can create a new timeline using this timeline. Now, why would you want to do that? Because with this main song timeline, I'm just doing the song. Now, if I want to do other stuff like a title and subtitles, I'll create a second timeline. So, and I already did that. So create a new timeline, right click, create a new timeline. I already did that. I gave it a name. I called it with title and subtitles. So I'll choose that timeline here. And it's thinking, there we go. All right, so now in this timeline, I have my main, oh, what happened? Does this show you a white screen? Oh, there we go. You guys still hear me?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so now you see this main song here, right? So that's the other timeline that's now in this second timeline. And that's all this is right here. But now you see words, right? So I'm going to go through a couple things here. And I know this is a lot, but you guys can go back and watch the video and kind of see this whole thing. But what I did was I added this. So now I can deal with this separately from all this. So if I go back to the main song timeline and I want to extend something for like 1 second or 2 seconds, then I don't have to deal with this thing in that. I just deal with it over here. So if you extend things on the other one, you have to extend every little clip, and you don't want to do that for all these things. So that's why you create a different timeline. So so what I did was I just grabbed a title here. So effects library. Let me hide media pool. So effects library titles, and I chose backlit rise. So I just dragged this over. So I can show you this one. I'll just drag this over. Now I dragged it on top so you could probably see it. My computer's slowing down a lot right now. Let me try to close some things here.
Holy cow, those tabs.
All right, let me extend this here. Come on. There we go. So now you see this other title here. Now we don't really need that because I added this one here, and it's just in the beginning. So you drag and drop it here, and then it has some regular text or whatever. So you come over here, and you can change the text. So here I put San Diego Worship Band on the top, Revelation Song on the bottom, and then I can change some of the colors. Shadow light, main light. There's a lot of stuff here. I mean, you can there's actually a YouTube video where you can type in DaVinci Resolve titles, and it'll go through each one of these, and you can see it in a 3-minute video. And then I just grabbed this off the internet, so it's this sound here, just to make it sound legit. All right, and then the really important thing is subtitles. So you have lyrics that you want to show.
Oh, gee, so that B-roll, that little sound there wasn't something that was built in.
No.
That was something you had to grab and manually put in.
Yeah, I found it on the internet somewhere. Just look for sound. It's called Robin Hood Passing Blows.
Robin Hood Passing Blows.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, I can, if you guys want the sound, I can
Legit.
email it to you. It's like less than a megabyte. So I added this and I made it separate from the song. And then what's really cool is I can hit Control and click this, and then right click and copy. And then I can actually go to another song and then hit paste there, and it will copy that. So that way I don't have to try to remember all the colors I chose or whatever. I just have to change the text. So that's what I did with You Are Good and Power and all those. So I just copied this over. Anyways, it looks like Jeremy had to go. All right, so what I want to do here is subtitles. So what I want to do is click this. Let me close this. Click this thing, and then this is show subtitles. Now this actually isn't enabled from the get-go, so you have to right-click and do Add Subtitle Track, and then you add this, and then you go to where you want to, like let's say there, and right-click, Add Subtitle, and then come up here to the upper right and go, this is a test. There we go. So someone got her subtitle. And that's actually pretty easy to do, but you need to do it on the timeline that you will render, and we'll get to rendering here in a second. So now the other thing I have to show you is on the subtitle, there's this thing called track style. So this is where you can set your font. So let's say I want to make this really big, really small. Line spacing, if I have multiple lines, like right here. So line spacing, track style, line spacing. There's that. There's kerning, alignment. So it's really cool. I think it defaults to, let me bring this down. I think it so here's position. I think it defaults to like down here. But this one I put in the middle.
Oh.
So you
I was
see
doing it
again.
a totally different way.
Yeah, I like to like left click on this position X here and then drag. It gives me finer control and then zoom. So I'm gonna undo all this.
It's so much easier. I was doing it using the transformation box.
Right here.
The little square on the side that you use to reform the videos.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was using that.
This is way easier. I've never
Yeah.
done any of this, but it's a lot to play with, and I'm usually Sammy Slippo's putting me under time schedules. But so what I'll do is I'll sit there and I'll play.
Worthy is the Lamb who was slain.
And then I'll stop right there. I'm usually zoomed in a lot more, and then I'll right click, and then I'll add this, and then I'll type it in, and then I'll drag it out to where I think it's going to be, and then I'll play it through.
Holy, holy is he.
And then I'll go, okay, well that wasn't exactly right, so I'll drag it out a little more. And then, the subtitles actually are the easiest thing to do once you get a hang of it. All right, so that's enough about video editing. And then what you'll do, okay, so if you think of these waveforms as a gain, so Chris will know a little more about this, but this is more about like what gets fed into the video, but this is the volume right here. So if you click on Fairlight, and you'll see, got to choose the right timeline. So this is when you're trying to deal with the singers and the instruments and all that. So now you kind of want to adjust things here. So what I usually make it, there we go. This kind of lags too, so I'll go back to edit and I'll make sure I start unclicking, because I'm not dealing with video anymore, so I'll just hide these, and then it becomes really smooth. Because right now, when I go back to Fairlight, I'm just dealing with the audio, and I just want to make sure everything's balanced. So if I turn the keys stick up. Oh, I have to unlock. It's too loud for acoustic. Now it's too low. Let's see.
How down?
Turn that noise down. So if you think of like the waveforms back on the edit page, this is like dealing with 80% of the volume here, and then you fine tune over here, and you're just tweaking it, make sure everything's balanced. And oh, here it is. Here's the timeline. So you change the timeline here. But yeah, so this is like, I'm on this page maybe 30 minutes. Most of the 5 hours I'm here dealing with all this. And then here at the end, I'll render, send it out to everyone. What do you guys think? And then they'll say, well, this is too loud. That's not loud enough. I can't hear so-and-so, et cetera, et cetera. Once I get all this down, I think the drums is too loud here. Let me do all this. Yeah, I think this is good. All right, so this is what I was happy with. I go back to the edit page and I go to with title and subtitles, and that's what I named it so I don't get confused. And this is kind of like the tail end of everything here. And give it a second here. My 2011 desktop. I'm actually surprised that this almost 10-year-old computer can handle all this.
Impressive.
Yeah. So deliver is the final render. And so I'll give it a name, Revelation Song. I usually put a number after it, or you might want to put like take 1, take 2, whatever. Make sure export videos clicked. Just do QuickTime, H.264, and then this is important. So you usually keep the defaults here. This is important. Subtitle settings. So you want to make sure you have the right timeline. And you can check that by, if you put your subtitles, you can see the subtitles there. Because if I do the other one, you're not going to see these subtitles or the main title. Yeah, so the subtitles are gone and you're not going to see the intro thing anymore. So choose the right one. And then verify. I usually click in the middle here. Come on. Yeah, it'll take a second here. But okay, so you want to click on export subtitle and then you want to burn into video. So now instead of like a YouTube, which has like a separate file, this is actually in the video itself, which is what you want. And then you add to render queue, and then you start render, and then you sit there. This takes my computer about 12 minutes to render. I just usually do custom, but I guess you can do YouTube too. I've never really played with these very much. I just do custom, give it a name, make sure QuickTime H.264, and then burn into video, and then render. And if you want, what I do is I want to send out like to the worship team. I want to send out audio only so I can get their like, okay, what do you guys think? So I'll uncheck this, and then I'll choose wave, and then render, and then and you give it a name, but it will just do the audio. And then you can send that out as a smaller file. They can listen to it and go, oh man, that lead guitarist, he's always too loud, turn him down. But that's just, I found that out this week. I kept exporting video and I'm dealing with 0.5 gigabyte files uploading, and then someone would say, oh, this one tweak, and you're like, oh, that was a lot. Now I just export the audio only.
And I have a question for you, G.
Yeah.
So you have it set to format as QuickTime there. Is that because when you give it to Sammy, it needs to be in QuickTime format, or is it because when I tried to format it in QuickTime, it gave me this huge file, even for my little recording, which was just me and my voice and my video, which was like 12 gigabytes of a file.
12 gigabytes?
Yeah, 12 gigs.
Oh my gosh.
I was trying to load it up to Google Drive, and it kept telling me I had no space. And then I realized the file was super huge, and I checked back and I changed it to MP4, and then I was able to upload it to Google Drive.
I didn't play too much with this. I think I've done MP4 as well. It might be smaller.
Yeah, super, I think. it went from 12 gigabytes to maybe 124 megabytes.
Can you guys see this Windows Explorer?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So if you look here, so when I exported, and this was QuickTime, it was 1.2 gigs, and I ran it through Handbrake, and then it brought it down to 162. And then I replayed it, so I always confirm, but it exported as an MV4 file, which I'm not exactly sure what that is, but
That's
that
a
brought
big
it down to 1/10 of the size.
Yeah.
And the quality is like 98% the same. So Handbrake is a very useful tool. I would recommend downloading that. It's free as well, and using that.
I have a question, G.
Yeah.
On the front end of recording, Get Your Audio, is everybody recording into a microphone?
That's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone, the first week we did it, everyone used earbuds at the very least. Let me bring all you guys over to this page here. Everyone used earbuds, with the exception of Claire. I gave her my Rock Band. Remember Xbox had a Rock Band game with the little toy
Oh, yeah.
guitars? But I drove over my Rock Band microphone to her, which was better than her earbuds, and she had really good audio quality. Now Daniel was leading Power, and if you listen to the song Power, he blows out this little microphone right here. I mean, this, I don't know if this gets recorded in the video, the Zoom video, but I have a little Apple earbuds, the little white one. He blew it out, and so this week I brought him a Yeti microphone that I had by Blue, like $100 microphone, and his audio is way better. So I use this Bluebird. This is a $300 microphone. Luis, you have a microphone, right?
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
I have my Rhodes microphone.
Yeah. So I would recommend using a microphone, but Maria, she sang that lead into one of these earbuds. So, oh, that was the other thing I wanted to show you guys, because you're going to encounter this, and I hate to go backwards a little bit, but it's important, because you're going to get people who blow out their microphones and then sing really quietly. And she did that a lot in this video. Maria did. So let me hide the subtitles real quick, and this will help you out, because at first I didn't know how to deal with it, and then I figured out how to deal with it. So I'm going to show waveforms, hide the subtitles, and bring audio. Here we go. All right, so here's Maria right here. See that A6? See what I did there? So I zoom in here. So here she is, and I had to go through her whole song and go, okay, she's really quiet here, she's really loud there, she's, different parts. Like, see here, she was blowing out the mic. You could see that going off the edge there. So I brought her down, but then here she was super quiet. So you see this line here, it's up higher, and here the line's lower. So I had to cut her. And there's another way you can do this. You can add little keyframes and do it like that way, but it's faster just to cut her. So you drag the track head over wherever you want to, and you use this little razor blade tool, and you cut the track right there. Now you see it created a section. So if I wanted to do that here, okay, now I can deal with our audio separately. So I'll zoom in, and I'll bring this audio up, and that one down. So that was a good question, because I meant to bring that up earlier, but that's you're gonna encounter that for sure. So easy peasy. I'm sure you guys have more questions.
Yeah, just one more. For the title, what how much do you change the colors? This color scheme.
Yeah, let's see here. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a colors guy, and it was Easter, so I just kind of chose like
Okay.
this color here. But if I
Brighter.
drag, let's drag another one in. Where is this? Backlit rise. So I'll bring this over here. Zoom in. Let's hide this. All right, so yeah, I didn't like that color. It just seems a little too gold to me, or yellowish or whatever. So I don't know, I just eyeballed it. So I started doing this, and shadow light. And then once it got to something that I actually kind of thought, okay, that seems Easter to me, then
Yeah. Okay. Getcha.
that's all I did.
For the life of me, I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't even tell you, like, all right, well, this is how I want you to get the color the same as mine.
They
That's
have,
why
like,
I
the-
told you
the
just send
numbers
it
on
to
the
me and I'll
side
do
right
it.
there, right?
Say again?
Like the little red. They have the little numbers on the side there, like the red, the green, the blue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
That's why I told you just send your video to me and I'll just do it myself, because I could just
Yeah.
hit cut and paste and then move to the other song and copy or
Perfect.
paste it. So
Oh, that's excellent.
Question G. So it looks like it's a color palette with the primary colors of red, green, and blue. And so you just mix it to get the right shade that you want, right?
yeah.
Okay.
And to be honest, like I was playing with some of these things, it didn't seem like it was changing anything, like this one. See how it doesn't seem like it's doing anything?
Yeah.
It's changing the shadow on the small text above, I think.
Yeah, I couldn't figure it out. But okay, well that's obvious. I see what's going on there. So that's why I was just playing around with it. And
Oh.
this did something here.
Looks like Star Wars.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just played. I actually didn't spend more than 3 or 4 minutes on this actually. But once I got it to something I liked, that's what I've been using for all the videos. Oh, I'm hiding it. There we go. And that seemed pretty Easter to me, kind of like yellow for chickens and white for rabbits, and I don't know.
Purple for eggs.
I'm not a color guy.
Hey, that's good.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I
then
like it.
there's these 3 tabs: cut, fusion, and color. I never use those 3 tabs, just to let you know. So if you're feeling guilt pangs for not using this tool to the max, that don't feel guilty.
There is a lot in this. A lot of things.
Yeah,
It's awesome that it's free.
Wow.
Yes.
I actually watched a video 2 days ago wondering why this is free, and they said that their main thing is selling cameras. So they sell cameras and video equipment, and then they want to get people on the brand, so they give this away for free. I thought that was interesting.
Hmm.
And you think of Adobe Premiere, that's $240 a year. It's a subscription. So,
Wow.
anyways, did I scare you guys away now?
No, I love it.
I have a hypothetical question though.
Yeah.
Let's say that you have a singer that's having a bad day singing in tune. Is there anything you can do audially to change that, or do you pretty much have to work around that?
Bring him down.
Could I share my screen, G? Because I have a couple.
Yeah.
tips for that. Or am I allowed to share my screen?
I think
Yeah,
you
should
have
be
to
able to.
click share screen or
Share screen, and I'm going to share my DaVinci Resolve. Actually, I'll just share my screen too. That'll be fine.
and
You
I will
guys
share
see
something
yourselves.
too afterwards because my distorted rhythm was a little too harsh, so I kind of cleaned that up, and I'll show you that later after Luis.
So when I go in here to so right over here, every one of these tabs has a different function, like the edit tab and then this fusions tab, which you can like import like animations. Like if you have text that you want to move around the screen, you can put in animations, as well as this little wheel right here where you can have certain things go into the timeline at different levels. Like they can come in from here, or they can come in from there and zoom in. But the Fairlight, what I used that for was I was recording. Let me see. How do I share computer sound? So I was recording my voice, and I kept getting this hiss at the early start of my vocal track, and that was just the microphone coming on. And so I went over here to noise reduction, and you just prop that in there, and it pops up a little bit of a learning noise reduction thing. So you can actually take it to the beginning of your audio track and hit this thing called learn mode and play your audio track. It learns, you take the learn off, and it takes the hiss off. So it automatically gets the hiss to reduce itself. So if you hear hiss in your sound, but basically these are your audio corrections. Like you can do a pitch correction. You can do like
wow.
I
There we go.
can create more reverb. I can raise my voice up by a semitone, and I can go all the way up to 12 semitones above, and now I have that. so it's a great system. It's got as much, I'd say, as GarageBand in a editing vocal sense. Not as much as Pro Tools or Logic, but it's got enough for you to really mess around with it. And over here, if you expand, you get rid of the effects library and you expand, it has an EQ for you to mess around with as well. You can pop up the EQ and start compressing the sound however you'd like it. So
that's what I was going to show you next, because it's actually, if you unshare and I'll share mine, I didn't like something about my guitar sound. So when I went here, let me change the timeline back to this main song. All right, so my guitar, my electric rhythm is here, so A5, EGR. So when I was playing it, now if you double click on this EQ, so you can kind of see what I did here a little bit already. So A5, EQ. Now if I play it, now what I'm going to do is I raise the Q factor, which I think just means like how skinny this little peak or valley is. So if so it's just like how skinny or wide it is. So I usually bring it up, and I'm going to actually accentuate and see what I don't like. So I'll play this. But I'm going to, so this S means solo. So all I want to hear is this right here. So I'll play this. And I kind of drag back and forth to see what I don't like. Okay, that's bothering me right there. So now I'll bring the gain down. Now it doesn't sound so harsh anymore. You see what I did there?
Yeah, it's an envelope filter.
Yeah. So I took this frequency out because when I was playing it, it was bugging me. It was like, it felt like a really buzzing, harsh sound. So I brought these two sounds down. So if I play this, come on. Ah. All right, so now this is number 3. So I'll bring this back up.
Right. Yeah.
So the way you do that is you just kind of solo whatever track you want to do and then play it. And then increase the Q so it's really skinny. And then drag it across the top here until you find it. And bring it down. And I think you can only do this for 2 because I only see Q factor for 2 of these, but maybe there's others that you can do it for, but it's a lot more wide. So,
Oh, I see. Yeah.
but anyways, that's something I've found out myself as well. And I actually never thought to look at the effects library here for audio. That's really cool. There's no auto tune though.
Well, except that one thing that Luis showed, which is like a pitch controller.
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
think
you
that
can-
affects the whole thing, right?
It affects. You could put control centers in it, but it's not as clean as like an auto tune filter where you can just kind of punch it in and make it work for you. You know.
Oh, okay.
So
So yeah, I would say the first week I did this, I did 2 songs and it took about 25 hours. But I didn't have the benefit of this thing. You know, you're sitting here for an hour and a half, but I think it would save you a good 5 hours of just sitting through and watching this. So the second week I did 3 songs, and then I took Luis's song and I added the intro to that, which took 5 minutes. But the other 3 songs I had to synchronize everything. That took about 15 hours total, so 5 hours per song. This week took about 5-6 hours to do Revelation song, just because the drum wasn't in the whole time. And like I said before, you choose your song, you got to choose it right, because when you don't have the rhythm, constant rhythm, then you're gonna have timing issues, which is what I had with this song. I think the quarantine is going to be lifted by beginning of May, maybe second week of May, where you're not confined to your home anymore and you can meet with a group of 10. And so at least what I'm planning to do with the worship team down here is just gather a group of 8 or 9 and record a bunch of songs on stage, maybe like 12 songs, enough for a month, and do 3 songs per week. Because we've found that, you know, you do more than 3 songs, people start to like, it feels really long.
yeah, especially when recorded.
Yeah. And you're not immersed in the worship, you're observing it on a TV. So it just doesn't have the same effect. So people will sit through maybe 2 songs plus a song during the communion, quote unquote, tray passing. At least in the mission. I saw Brian Craig, he was doing like 6 songs. I mean, he went hour and a half, you know, so
Wow.
different regions, I guess.
Different tastes. Well, I got to get going, guys. My wife and I have some chicken that we got to eat.
Oh, nice.
Thanks for us.
Maganda yun!
All right, see you, Luis.
All right, guys. Love you guys. Thank you so much,
Bye,
G.
Tito.
All right, no
Appreciate
problem.
you.
Yeah.
Bye, CK. Good to see you. Bye, Steph.
Bye, mijo. Take
Bye.
care.
Bye, Luis.
Love you guys.
Love you too.
So you guys have any other questions, Stephanie?
I'm ready. Let's do this. 5 hours.
So Stephanie, I can see you doing one song and you're playing all the instruments and singing all the harmonies.
That's what we about to do.
Yep. I'm going to sing falsetto.
How they get rid of you? You're a little too conceited, Stephanie. You need to involve other people.
It's fun. I mean, it's at the I mean, we're going to be doing this for a while. At least a split screen. The reason why it takes 5 hours is because you're trying to synchronize all these people together. When we get on a stage and we have, what we'll plan to do is have one stationary camera in the front, and then maybe two brothers with like cameras, like iPhone cameras on stabilizers, and like zoom in on the guitar player or singer or the drummer. And then what I'll do is I'll import all 12 songs, which will be like an hour's worth, and it'll be 3 different video files. And I'll just go through and I'll cut. Okay, I like this part, cut. And then you'll see one video file, another video file down here, third timeline, another video file, and then you just do the cross fade. And that should be really easy to edit. And it should maybe take 5 hours for 12 songs versus 5 hours for one song. So, and then I'll get, a month's worth of songs out of that versus this is very tedious. So that's why I was like, let all regions and other churches use it, because I work 5-6 hours on it and 4 minutes goes by and it's like, all right, that was great.
Thanks a lot, G.
You did great, G. This was awesome.
Yeah.
We really appreciate all your help. So.
Definitely.
Sharing all of your wisdom and being the sacrificial lamb for all the way.
Anything to save you from 12 hours per song in the beginning, Yeah, no problem.
All right, guys. Well, have a great night. Thank you again.
All right. Thanks,
Good night.
guys. Talk to you soon.
All right,
Thank
take care.
you.
Bye.
Bye.